capital city. And of course, it's women's business on the table. So sit back and relax and watch.
Good morning, Nigerians. It's good to be here on a Thursday morning. So when you said Wednesday, I was going to say you're taking us back because a day after today is Friday.
I know you're looking forward to Friday, your favorite day
so
of
much
the
on
week.
the table.
But let's go into what we have for you today. So good morning, everyone, and welcome to FCT Brief. Across democracies, the question of women participation in governance continues to draw renewed attention, not just as a matter of equity, but as a governance imperative. While women play visible roles in political mobilization and grassroots engagements, their presence in key decision-making positions remain limited, raising concerns about whose voices shape public policy. Today, our focus is on women in politics, and we will be reviewing the cost of gender gaps in governance.
From legislation and budgeting to peace building and social development, the absence of women at the table has far-reaching implications. What does this imbalance mean for inclusive governance, national development, and democratic accountability? And why has progress remained slow despite decades of advocacy? To walk us through these critical issues, we are joined by Dr. Ojobi, National Secretary of the Amalgamated APC Support Groups. She will share insights on the political realities facing women, party structures, and what must change to close the gender gap in governance. Thank you for being here this morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, you're welcome.
Thank you for having me.
For years, we've been on this particular issue of women inclusion, and it seems as if we're not making the kind of desired progress. I want to understand, is it about the capacity of the women folk or a systemic inclusion? Or is it just that some very powerful individuals and forces are gatekeeping to prevent the women folk from being on the table where decisions have been made?
I'd like to start by saying that it has nothing to do absolutely with the capacity of women, because we know that women are actually the ones that are in the forefront when it comes to campaigns, voting, etc., etc. Every kind of political processes, women are always in the fore. I think it has to do with the system itself. The system itself has to make room for women inclusion, not just women casting the votes, lining up to cast the votes, but women sitting at the table, taking decisions, making decisions. I think it has to, go to that point. The game has to be up a little from us being there just to cast the vote. We should be there sitting at the table too when decisions are being made. Because when you look at it very critically, these decisions have, they have more effect on us. Because when you consider a country like Nigeria with 50% of her population as women, then this has to do with us. And then when you share the other 50% with the men and the children come back to us. So, it should be more of us there than what we have right now.
Well, you understand that power isn't served a la carte. So I would like to ask how effectively have women positioned themselves for power? We hardly see women come out to contest, apply for political positions, just a few of them. Now, without this positioning, are you expecting that, this power is just handed to you or you're picked for it? Doesn't that put it in a position of tokenism?
Okay. How do you rationalize the fact that when we're talking about elective positions, the high cost of nomination fees are there for women to contend with? Yes. The godfatherism factor is there. And then don't forget that 3/4 of the times, women are sometimes stigmatized for being out there politically. So we do not expect it to be served us a la carte. We're paying our dues. We're lining up. We're voting. We're shouting. We're talking.
But the men are also there out there too.
And then overshadowing us. They're overshadowing us. Yes. I think it's about time that we are giving an equal playing ground these nomination fees, high, very high nomination fees. Women are not even given access to funding for campaigns or for elections. So how do you expect us to go about that? The men would rather invest in themselves because it's still the same ball game. Women in the kitchen, women in the background, women there. A man would rather invest in another man for an elected position than he would in a woman. And this narrative should change. It should change. We're not expecting it to be a la carte. No, 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 no. We have paid our dues. Women have paid their dues. I'm going to speak, particularly about Nigeria, as it were, because this is where it concerns me. Women have paid their dues, and women should be given a fair chance to represent the people.
I like it when you say women should be given. Now, it paints a picture that some individuals are holding the reins, and it's what they determine. Now, you just said that 50% of the population are women. And when you look at the other 50% and you talk about children, first come to the women, which means they have so much influence on the children more than the men. So if we want to look at it that way, about 60%, the women have that force. Now, have you also considered this aspect of, say, women not supporting women? Democracy is the game of numbers. If you have this number, 50%, and you look at the children also, that maybe about 25%, so about 75%, why is it difficult in an election where a woman is a candidate on the ballot and a man is there, and you have this about 75%, yet this percent refuse to support the women? So aren't you also looking at how to break that barrier amongst the women folks supporting the women, and also the cultural barrier that are parts of this country, that the women will not be heard? No matter what you say, the culture or religion will prevent them.
Much more than anything else, I'm going to address the women not supporting women myth. I call it a myth because it's not real, because women are actually there prompting each other up. Women are there lifting each other up. But we have a ceiling, and the ceiling is not just the system, the men folk. Women are there supporting. Agreed, there are a few women who are out there betraying the trust of women. And that is because they have been given some kinds of pies by the men to betray the women. And then looking at it very critically, yes, we have more than 60%. Actually, we have more than 60%. When you talk about the youths, yes. But when we talk about the children who are just coming up voting age, we have more than 60%. But where's the funding? Where's the funding? We all know that politics comes with a lot of funding. Where's the funding for women? And this is what we are crying about. This is what we're talking about. We have so much to offer. We have so much to bring to the table for economically, socially, development-wise. We have so much to bring to the table. But we need to be sitting at par to be able to make that impact. So when we look at it very critically, we want, that level playing ground. Women are not betraying women for nothing. Women, for every betrayal of a woman, when you say women not supporting women, it's because there's somebody out there who has dangled a carrot. Otherwise, women are the most united force in creation.
All right, Mrs. Ojobi.
Yeah.
Right. I'll come back to you right after the short break. Don't go anywhere. We still have more for you on the program. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Conversation on women involvement in politics. Now, I would like to ask you, because there's this saying that goes, what a man can do, a woman can do it better. And you also highlighted funding as a major constraint when it comes to women involvement in politics. Now, we have seen a lot of women, highly placed women, that we can say are financially buoyant. Why don't we see these women coming out to support the women folk, to present a candidate and field that candidate? Why do we always have to wait for handouts from maybe the male folk, and have women also spoken to political parties rather than the political side of things? How about approaching the political parties to see a way that they can bring down the price of these nomination forms so that it can be more affordable for the women rather than asking for a reserved seat?
Well, when you say what a man can do, a woman can do better, I couldn't agree with you more, because that's the truth. it's been there, since creation. Women are actually more involved in unpaid labor than men are. So women can actually do a lot of things much more better than men can do. And then when we're talking about approaching the political parties to bring down the prices of the nomination funds and, the requirements for contesting elections, we have actually come together and we've talked about it. But, like I said, the system will always tell you, using what you said what a man can do, a woman can do best. So go pay the same amount. And then when we're talking about women, funding women, what is the ratio of the influentially stable women compared, who are politically inclined compared to the men? What is that ratio? Am I going to meet somebody like Ngozi Okoli, who is actually involved in production and believes strictly in that line of business to come and fund me politically? Look at it critically. How many of them? We have more men. They have been able to position themselves in such a way that they are there at the top. They are the ceiling. They are the benchmark. We couldn't pass through them. We're trying. We're actually trying. And women are actually making a headway, especially, in this dispensation, this political dispensation. Women are actually making a headway because we've never seen it like this before. Women inclusion in governance like this, as we have it right now. But then, when you look at it, there's a ceiling. There's a ceiling. There are more men in partisan politics than there are women. You couldn't possibly go and tell, a petty trader to come and fund your multi-billion business. She wouldn't even understand what you're saying. You have to be on the same page. The women you talk that are influential have to be on the political page. If they're not on the political page, they don't see reason why. Because everybody wants to protect their interests.
So isn't sensitization supposed to also go hand in hand with this advocacy for the reserved seats? If you say that a lot of women are not informed about the gravity of this movement, shouldn't sensitization of women also at the grassroots be one major factor?
Well, I think sensitization has gone way ahead. Why? Because the seat bill, calling it the reserved seat, because I don't see it like reserved seat, it's the seat bill. The women, the political women, are behind it. We came out en masse. It went around the 6 geopolitical zones, the reading of it. And then, it culminated at the Hilton Hotel. We were all there. We were behind it. And for the first time, that is why I'm saying that in this political dispensation under Mr. President, we've never seen it. It's unprecedented. The men were actually behind us, pushing us, wanting, yearning for us this time around, because they see what we bring to the table. We are there with them from even, incubative periods. We are there. They know it is time. There's for so long you can cage.
All right. I also understand that in most of the political parties, nomination forms for women usually half the cost of the forms. And so it might not. So just to put that in perspective, that the nomination forms are still half in most of the political parties. But my worry also is this reserved seat we're talking about. Is it not possible also we push that even the political parties, because you're first a member of a political party before you want to even seek an elective position, that beyond women leader, the various political parties, when they are forming their NWC, they should deliberately bring in women, because that is where decisions of political parties are made. So beyond women leader, because you have women leader, do you have youth? You have youth leader. Do you have men leader? So we already submitted that in political parties that women seem to be weak, so we must create one position for them. So to what extent are you pushing that political parties should have other seats in their NWC for the women?
When you're talking about 50% of the cost of the nomination fees. When nomination fees are as high as 50 million, 50% is an increase.
So you want it free?
Well, we want it at a percentage, a significantly low percentage. We want it at that. Yes, it shouldn't be half for what we bring to the table. We shouldn't be half at all. And then when we're talking about women inclusion in the working committees of the political parties, yes, you rightly observed it. There should be more of women participation in the working committees of political parties. There should be. There should be, beyond women leadership, there should be women inclusion. Even though there are women in the ruling political party, the All Progressive Congress, there are women, one or two women in the framework, but in the decision making, which is the NWC, the National Working Committee, we have maybe two voices, the woman leader and her deputy. There should be more. I couldn't agree with you more. There should be more.
Well, now you mentioned earlier that for the first time in history, or for the first time in a long while, this administration is recording so much support from the male folk, especially on the political scene for the women. And I would like to say, how is this measure that it will translate to real results, that this time around this bill will say true? Because we always see the men come out publicly to support the bill, but when it comes to the time for voting, it doesn't sail true. So where is that missing link, and how do you measure that this time around the case will be different and this bill will sail true?
Well, I'm going to say this without missing words. I like to believe that this present political dispensation run by this particular president is actually women, sensitive. Women sensitive. Because when you look at it, critically, in the build-up of the cabinet, we haven't gotten to 35% yet, but we are close. When you look at the nominations for the ambassadorial nominations, we have over about 20.5%, which is close to 35%. We couldn't do it all in one day, but we're working towards it. We as women, we see that there's a deliberate, concerted effort at working towards it by this present administration. So we totally believe in him. We totally believe in the fact that women are not, sensitive positions in cabinet are given to women. We believe absolutely that we're getting there. Before the end of this administration, hopefully in 2031, we know that women will be close to 35%, if not at 35%.
Okay, good governance is not a gender issue.
Yes.
And we're pushing for women inclusion, but what Nigerians really want is good governance.
Yes.
Whether it is from a man or a woman or a youth, whatever. Now, how are the women folk ensuring that it's not just about bringing women on the table of decision making, but bringing about the quality women, so that it's not just, okay, the seats have been reserved. What thoroughness are we putting in place to ensure that that reserved seat is picked by the best amongst them, not by those who have the wherewithal to be there?
Globally, it is known that women inclusion in governance has been very favorable to a nation's GDP. Globally, it is settled. There's better output. There's that likelihood that policies that are, people friendly, would be delivered through women in governance. I'll take a case study of India. At a particular local council, a woman was the head of the local council, and as little as clean pipe bomb water was, given to them, which was a need that her predecessors did not fill. And she happened to be the only one of, amongst her peers who did it. So when we look at it very critically, women in governance have always translated. The atmosphere is friendly. There's direct foreign investment, because policies, that are friendly, people friendly. Like you rightly said, Nigerians are not looking for man, woman, short, black, fair, dark complexion. All we want is good governance. But we believe, and we know of a truth, because it has been globally established, that with women in governance, the GDP is always rising. The human capital skyrockets. Now, when you're looking at it, we come back home at the fact that we don't want the highest bidders to get it. We want the people who are actually equipped to do the work. We have seasoned women politically, time, and that is one of the things I appreciate Mr. President for. He is somebody that has time. I like to believe as mantra. He gives time to everything. Now, time has seasoned the political woman in Nigeria. We know them. We know ourselves. Because time, for me, I say time is either a definer or a destroyer. Time have defined the people who can go to the field and work the work. So there's no way we can be swayed. And that is what we're saying. Give us our time now. Give us our time now.
All right. Beyond, handing the women the time now, is there a measurable economic cost to Nigeria's persistent underrepresentation of women as we speak? Because we are living in a country that is grappling with insecurity challenges, poverty, and mass underemployment. Why should gender equality be treated as an urgent matter of importance?
I was just, I just touched on that a little bit when I talked about women in governance all over the world, hyping, the GDP of every nation. When you have women in governance, there's this high level of people-friendly, I wouldn't call it gender-friendly, people-friendly policies being put in place. Unemployment being addressed, salary increases, education being, properly put in the perspective where we wouldn't have so much. What gives rise to insecurity when we talk about insecurity, really? It is the fact that policies have to be in place, that are friendly to the people. So much so that they don't see the reason to embark on these things. So when women come, globally, it has been established. These policies are best. When the atmosphere is filled by men, things like healthcare can be taken for granted. They will be underfunded. Education can be taken for granted. It will be underfunded. It's not that it's not being funded, but it is underfunded. Yes. Employments could be taken for granted. It is child mortality. It will be underfunded. But when a woman is there, it's an inherent thing. It comes naturally. Policies that are friendly, that will cut across board and curb the likelihood of insecurity or whatever will be reduced to its barest minimal.
All right.
Yeah, I think a good way to end this conversation.
Yeah. I must say thank you so much for your time with us on the program. It's a delight speaking with you.
The pleasure is all mine, and I couldn't.
I like the energy.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Incidentally, this seems to be the first time we're having a woman talk about politics like this.
No, I know we've had a woman on the show before, but with so much passion. Yes. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much for having me.
And just before we hand over